eating again. Eating some rice. So, there are platforms where you can consume the news, right? World events, kind of learn what's going on. Not a bad idea, perhaps. Not a bad idea, perhaps. What people might be fighting or building something or introducing something or discovering something. It's a big world we're a part of. It's a big world we're a part of. This, as far as like predicting events, is a little bit more on the spiritual side of things. It's a little more simple because of that, I think. Because if something's going to be truly universal, if this message is going to be universal, then I have to be kind of careful about what I'm saying, what I'm inspiring. I do like astrology, but I also like the truth. And the truth is, I'm just making up a story. But I hope the story helps you, comforts you in some ways, and I hope you can approach it consciously. So what's happening in the heavens? Well, let me show you. So what we've got here is a new moon, which means that the sun is in Leo and the moon is in Leo together. So as you can tell, so if this is the constellation Leo, which is associated with the tropical zodiacal system, which is really just based off of the seasons. This summery time, the dead of summer, if you will, the heart of summer, the steady part of summer, is ruled over by the sun. That makes sense, right? Lots of sunlight, sun's at home. So to begin, since we're starting with the sun, what does this mean? It's not at the beginning. It's not at the beginning of Leo. It's not on the like Cancer side of Leo. It's moving towards the Virgo side of Leo, right? Obviously the Leo is distinct from those other two signs. The motif for the Leo is the lion. So there's a violence, there's an aggression, there's a territorialness, there's a napper, there's a cat-likeness to Leo. Cats are not all killers. They're not all aggressive demons, but some of them are. Many of them are. But again, that's what's going on here. Do you see me eating? What happens if I stop eating for many days? What will that be like? What would that be like? What would happen to me? We do consume things. We do kill things. I choose to do vegetarian, but again, so since the sun is home, there's this sense of like, wow, your light is shining bright. You are doing you, you're creating your thing. Okay, so come August 16th, because that's when this happens, what's that gonna look like? Well, it depends. For me, Leo is my 12th house, so it has to do with mental illness, being alone. So it's a new start, a new chapter with the sun and the moon that takes place in Leo that is focused on that region of my life. But what about in general? See, we don't know specifically the region of your chart that the story would inspire us to tell, so instead we go general. We don't know what like particular house it's in, how to get the story specific. So in just general, there's a powerful creative force here. And you can use that no matter where it falls in your chart. If it's yourself, your body, if it's in your relationships, there's a you feasting carnivorous beast part of you. That's there. And it's also very creative, very powerful. You know, the king of the jungle. So if there's a king in the zodiac, it's the sun, and the king is home. So it's almost like, here you are. Take control. There's a be the center of attention. Like step up to the plate. There is a little bit of that message. Now, What else is going on? Obviously the moon is there, so you can't see the moon at night. So the moon is representative, I think, of the thing that's the closest. So it's in the heart of the sun. You can't see the moon, but there's this, maybe the body and the emotions are going to be, really surrendering, if you will, to this soul life impulse. So in the same way that, like, we are alive, the same way that, like, we have that energy of being alive, that bright, luminous vitality, it's been going for a long time, right? Since creation, Big Bang, or whatever. Again, we just know that there's histories of humans and even dinosaurs. Like, life has been doing its thing. So when the moon is close to it in Leo, it's like a new chapter, a new cycle, a new creative expression has begun. Now, this would be the early stages of it. It's the closing down of the last full moon into this new moon, about to begin again. About to begin again. My ritual for new moons is to shave. It's how I remember. So it's like, time has passed. I'm going to shave and begin again. So a new creative cycle. A new creative cycle. A creative cycle. Something with your body that's creative. Something with your emotions that's creative. But also with your soul. Like, it's a place for the body and the emotions and the soul energy and the life force to all sort of be at a similar place, to be all kind of like aligned and into an intention for creative something new. That's kind of the energy that's coming up. So again, manifest in different ways. Now, the moon is in charge of Cancer, so it's going to be pulling in what's going on in Cancer. And as you can see, that constellation is currently empty of major archetypes. So the moon would pull in Cancer energy in to join with that sun energy. Nothing is there. But that point is being squared, as you can see. So the blue and the red of the sun right there at 23. So that's 15, 20, 23. Both of those together, they're being kind of squared pretty strongly by Uranus, right? So Uranus is there. So this otherwise creative energy is now getting a little bit of like a sudden delay, a sudden change to that creative idea, that creative dream, that creative new thing that you want to do. It may be kind of suddenly hit you. Now, since it's a square, the story is that it's more like you weren't quite prepared for it. It's more like, oh shit, like I've got to do that now. There's a sudden thing. And because Uranus is in Taurus, which is a much more, again, it's interesting. It's like comfortable, pleasant, routine. It's got a steadiness. But then Uranus is all about changing and shifting, and it's exactly squaring. So like it's like they're all 23 degrees. They have different minutes, of course, but like it's very, very precise. So there's a strong sudden shock, a strong sudden shift, a balancing that occurs. And I don't particularly think that this story is necessarily comfortable. Now, I understand that I'm telling a story, so why would I tell a story right now that's negative to y'all? Why would I do that to y'all? Isn't life challenging enough? That's precisely why I'm going to honor this story. So I'm practicing when I encounter really unfortunate, undesirable things. This just immediate touch point, moving over to Uranus, is just a little uncomfortable. So there's an uncomfortableness. Now, for me, this uncomfortableness is in my 9th house of foreign places, travel, God, higher education. So there's some sort of like maybe philosophical, ideological, spiritual excursion thing that is going to really be shocking, be shifting this creative potential that for me is in more or less like the more dark, mysterious, grief, sad prison systems, ashrams. Like it's definitely a more isolated, less empowered section of my chart. So something about that energy is going to get a little zap. Gonna get a little revolution. And I think that's okay. I do enjoy my time. Alone, but I can't help but think maybe this will be more or less the time I start to go back and work in the school systems, which are becoming more and more like prisons, which is really sad. Really isolated in many ways. I'm not trying to diss the educators working in our current system. I just feel like it's in drastic need of change. So there's a little of that. And I can be part of that change, even though it is scary. And I've been kicked out of a school before for trying to be honest. Yeah, it really isn't cool. It really isn't cool. So, just not. I shouldn't be inhibited from bringing forth the truth about drugs and their dangers, about overpopulation and human reproduction. These are not topics that should be off limits at a school, a place where we're trying to educate people. It really is nonsensical. They were trying to entrap me, and I just didn't allow it. I just kept it on the focus of education. I'm not ashamed. I'm proud of my work. If society rejects me for telling the truth, then they do. Then I'll have to figure out another thing. I've figured it out thus far. Maybe I'll get a different job. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up traveling abroad, or who knows what could happen. I just need to continuously keep in alignment with my principles. So, now that Uranus, which is that square point, it is... I'm going to look at these. I'm going to look at the aspects really quick. The sun is conjunct the moon exactly. It's Venus is hanging out there. But yeah, the square to Uranus is exact. So certainly those are the main, most exact aspects. The next one that I want to look at, the next aspect, I can show you what I'm doing. I'm just using this website because it's got it all, it does all the math for you. You don't have to calculate it anymore. But so that was that one. There's the square. Let's talk about Venus next, because Venus is retrograde. So even though the sun and the moon, they're all going this way together. The moon's pretty dang fast. Venus is actually still going backwards. So the moon will have just picked up on some of that and will be bringing it in, at least in the story. Obviously, this is all archetypal and story-based. But the moon will be sliding in to join the sun. So there's like a reflective creative, romantic rehashing a little bit involved. So it's making me think that this is like not something that the Uranus is like demanding a shift, like it's protesting a little bit, but the Venus is more like it just feels like it's familiar. It's familiar. It's familiar. Blah, blah. It's not like retrograde is bad. It's not bad to go back. So if you go to the store and you get everything that you need, but you really do need whatever for some dish, like you forgot your cinnamon or something. Well, is it bad? I don't want to frown. Is it bad to have to go back to the store to get cinnamon? Really? No. Yes, it's a little unfortunate. So it's again, going back is not bad. If you want to create something beautiful, sometimes you do have to just sort of like reflect and go, oh yes, like in the thing that I want to create, if I want to be celebrated, if I want to be masterful, this process is just sometimes necessary. So for me, what is this? What is this? What is it? I'm trying to think. If it's about creativity, if it's about individualism and expression, for me, there's this, my creativity and individual expression is in a place of not the most prominence in my chart. That being said, Jupiter is in Leo for me, so it's getting a puff, but I don't know, y'all. There's a sweetness, but it's very selfish. And again, I don't mean it, Leo is selfish, and I don't even think in the bad way necessarily. I'm getting the reflecting on your own creative energy in regards to how you show love and what beauty is to you in regards to this new cycle. It's definitely infusing. Another thing, Lilith, again, I'm kind of going based off this chart. Like if I were to pick a different system, or like if I would have changed my location, I don't know. What's that? 0 degrees, 0 degrees, 0 degrees, 0 degrees. I don't know. Universal. I don't know. I know that the moon and the sun are together, and Lilith is right there. So Lilith, I'm not even really sure how Lilith is calculated, but she's sitting right the fudge on that as well. It's like the imaginary moon. It's the moon that has like a cross coming down from it. It's I don't know, y'all. There's an injustice, wrath energy there too. Like between that and the Uranus, the Venus is helping. The sun is obviously, I mean, you get to do what you want with this. Like, you get to do what you want with this. We get to do what we want with this. Reflecting on your past connection to beauty, to love, to pleasure. For you. The pleasure of being you that nothing else can do. Like, Leo's a lot. No offense, Leo. I think Jupiter's squaring it too, but not as strong. Let me look. Yeah, it's a pretty weak square. The node is trining it. Okay. No, it's not. Really? The node is at 28 degrees. Yeah, it is. It is trining it loosely. I don't really work with trinings into the notes too much, nor do I work with Lilith that much. The square to Jupiter, it's there, it's faint. This Jupiter and Taurus energy is, it's like super dead in the heart of Taurus now. It's like very Tauresian. Very, very much. Also squaring Venus, which it rules. I'm just getting a my way. My way. A little of my way is happening there. But then it needs to shift a slight. Like my way needs to shift. God, spirituality, philosophy has something to say about what I'm going to be creating. Like it's almost like for me in my chart. For you, I guess it would be different, but there's a, I don't know. That square is interesting. Square is interesting. Pluto's trining Uranus. Mars and Mercury are trining Uranus as well. Mercury and Mars just hanging out. More or less right on my ascendant, too. It's like such a... So the messenger god in Virgo, very happy, really effective at communicating, but there's an aggressiveness there. Really being able to penetrate into things. That's assisting. Yeah. It feels helpful. It's trining. It's a thick trine. That's assisting this sudden shift. It's like you found a way to really get to the root or the seed of the revolution. I keep tapping my brain. I don't know what phenomenologists we want to do, but it's like the intellect, the trickster mind, the aggressive warrior, flowing so strongly towards that Uranus, and Uranus, of course, flowing back. Neptune opposing that Mars. Not necessarily Mercury, but I don't know. A retrograde Neptune on my sun opposing that Mars. It's a bit slippery. It's a bit dreamy. It's like the dream, the imagination, the transpersonal spiritual experience going the exact opposite direction as getting the details and the words perfectly. So there's definitely a little bit of like could be escapist. That's a retrograde Neptune. I mean, Neptune's so slow. Is it like really that different? I mean, maybe. Very subtly. I don't know how much a retrograde Neptune really... It just floats so slow. It's been in Pisces forever. I don't know how much the Mars is... It is what it is. It's like a... Right now, it's like a job application. It's like a job application. A dating app. It's like, yeah, you can upload and say the right things, but it's gonna get sent right out to sea. And it could land. You could end up in somewhere special, but it's like so not. It's not an exact opposition. Several degrees away, closer to the Mars part. So it's maybe like not being fully grounded in your warrior. Like fighting a battle that might be slightly less present. Not that that's wrong. Trining Jupiter. Trining Uranus. Lots, like a lot of details, a lot of practice, and that poking, shocking shifter. What is that? What is that? How is that going to manifest? We've talked now about Mars, Mercury, the Sun, the Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Uranus. Chiron in the North Node. Certainly, in this chart are not aspected, and I kind of like that. Lilith isn't either. Man, she's really close to that new moon, that Sun-Moon conjunction. Pluto's trining Mars and maybe not Mercury. Let's look at Mars. All right, Mars. Conjunction with Mercury by 3 degrees, trining Uranus by 0 degrees. Dang. Yeah. Uranus has a lot of zip. It's doing a lot of zippity doo dah. I just gotta think a sudden change, a sudden shift, a revolution. Zap. Be careful around electricity. You know, respect it. Respect the power of electricity. I was thinking about like what the side effects are of having phones on like our nervous systems, all that subtle electric current going into our fingers and stuff. Like, does it have an impact? I don't know. Probably a subtle one, right? Constantly having like, I don't know how much of it can actually penetrate, but I had that thought. Neptune sextiling Pluto, both retrograde. Okay. The dwarf planet that isn't really part of the system of schooling anymore. Closer than Neptune sometimes, not now, I don't believe. At the time of this. But so plenty of fire and earth. Plenty of fire and earth, a little water. There's not a lot of air. Not a lot of air in the heavens. Nope. Yeah. Strong analytical it's like I'm getting the image of someone who's like a prosecutor almost. Like a prosecuting. Yeah, it's very... In my chart, it's my first house that has the Mars Mercury conjunction. It's like warrior messenger, warrior messenger, warrior trickster. So close to my ascendant. Truly. It's very interesting. How will I embody this? In some ways it's good. In some ways it's good. Mercury's far enough away from the sun that it's not obstructed by the beams. Venus is. That's another thing. Venus is definitely under the beams. Can't see her. I'm just not sure how good that Venus is going to be able to help. It's retrograde, so it's reflective, and the soul impulse is so strong. The Jupiter, it's not exactly conjunct Uranus. It's a little too far away. So that shock just doesn't feel easy, but it feels pointed, like a sharp, saying the thing that you need to say. That may go against your dream. That may go against some sort of, I don't know. See, again, it's hard to... Neptune just doesn't make it easier for me to tell a story because it's so mysterious and so dissolving and... If you get rid of Neptune and that Pluto trine and the sextile between them... I don't know, guys. This one's an interesting one. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but I hope that this creativity is really attentive, really mindful to a shift. Like take in the attack. I may be the one giving the attack, or I may be, like, it's coming from me, like I'm attacking in my chart. I don't know where it would be for you. The story is more, I am critiquing, attacking some sort of revolutionary force that is going to kind of aggravate this creative injustice sort of aspect of self that's sort of ready to start a new chapter. Again, Mercury's in Virgo, that's great. Mars in Virgo, a little more neutral. The Sun, Venus, Moon, all in Leo. The Sun loves to be there. Moon and Venus are fine there, I think. Jupiter and Taurus, fine. Uranus and Taurus, fine. Neptune and Pisces, fine. Saturn is really not. That's the only thing is since Saturn's not really doing much in the regards to classical combinations, like I can show you. So since Saturn is not aspected, that's that one right there. It's like somehow this particular cycle doesn't feel like a forever, like lasting your lifetime kind of a cycle. It's more like a do it, like attack this particular thing. Yeah. Right now I'm having the thought of like, oh, do the next full moon, because it will be on what day? Yeah. I may be out of I won't be around to maybe do it the next time. Let me go to my calendar. Wow, the relaxed nature of how I'm telling these stories. It's not the most professional. It is not the most professional. Bum 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 ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. Let's hope that this logs in. I don't think I need to do that. Sorry. Yeah. The next one I won't be here. There's a sense of just doing it now. But I have the vision of doing that one under the influence of something perfectly legal in Los Angeles. So maybe I will. Maybe I will. This was an interesting chart. I hope you guys got some value out of that. Love, light, and the snake's bite. Man, I'm thinking about people watching this like hundreds of years from now. That's crazy. That's crazy. But it comforts them, I guess. It's okay. It's just a story. It's just a story. Part of the story.